Most people shooting with the Sony FX30 are ruining their Cine EI footage before they ever hit record. And it has nothing to do with color grading, it's not your lens, and it's not because Cine EI is too complicated. It's because you're trying to control exposure with tools that don't work with Cine EI. If you want that thick, clean, cinematic S-Log3 image that everyone talks about, you have to start thinking like a cinematographer. Today I'm going to show you the one tool that makes Cine EI easier to use in the real world and a slightly controversial exposure trick that can save your footage when the light starts changing fast. In this video, we're going to discuss how to finally control exposure the right way when shooting in Cine EI on the Sony FX30, why most shooters unknowingly sabotage their image before they even hit record, and how a simple change to your ND workflow can dramatically improve your S-Log3 footage. We'll cover when ND filters become mandatory, how to handle changing light without breaking Cine EI, and a subtle exposure decision that most people never think to question. But once you see it, you won't shoot the same way again. And as always, if you find value in this video, subscribe for more FX30 and Cine EI breakdowns. Check out the links in the description below and use the chapter markers to jump ahead or come back to exactly what you want to see. And if you have any questions about anything you see in this video, drop a comment below. I read every one. And maybe the most important of all, I want to give a special thank you to everyone supporting the channel. It means the world to me. Let's get into it. When you switch the FX30 into Cine EI, you're making a deal with the camera. You're locking your base ISO to 800 or 2500. Next, in most cases, we want to always try to lock our shutter angle at 180 degrees for optimal motion blur, unless we choose to break that rule, and that's okay sometimes. That's the price we pay for maximum dynamic range and image quality. But here's the problem. If you're on an exterior and conditions are not perfect, which happens all the time, what do? The sun does not care about your Cine EI workflow. So what happens when the sun comes out from behind a cloud and then it goes back in and then you're almost ready and bam, it comes out again? Let me know in the comments if this has ever happened to you. You can't touch the ISO, you shouldn't touch the shutter, and this is where most people panic. They stop the lens all the way down to f16 or f22, which can introduce diffraction. Or they crank up the shutter speed and destroy motion blur. Either way, it has an effect on the image and it can definitely ruin your shot. This is exactly where ND filters stop being optional and start being mandatory. ND filters are just sunglasses for your sensor. They let you control exposure while keeping your base ISO, your cinematic shutter, and your log curve exactly where they belong. But there's a second problem that most people don't talk about. Traditional ND filters are slow. If you're shooting run and gun, by the time you screw on a filter, the cloud has moved, the light has changed, and the shot is gone. That's why I switched to this system. This is the M2 Magnetic Quick Swap Filter 2.0 kit from Freewell gear. Now, full disclosure, Freewell sent me these NDs to test and review, but I'm going to give you my personal perspective on how they perform and the pros and cons in the world of NDs. They're not paying me to say anything. This is just my take. All right, so very excited to get, see here, these Magnetic Quick Swap 2.0 NDs. We got a nice little package here. This is from Freewell. They loaned me this product. How nice of them. Let's see if we can open this up. The biggest advantage here is image quality, and the second is speed. Let us first look at speed, and then we'll look at image quality. These filters snap on instantly. No threading, no fighting your gear. Quick side note, this kit is really well thought out. The Freewell M2 magnetic quick swap kit comes in this really nice leather case, and it's not just for looks. It has a buckle strap so you can clip it on your belt loop or a backpack, or do like I do and hang it off of the tripod handle, so if you're moving around a lot, it's with you. Inside the kit, you get a magnetic ring that stays on your lens, and that's what makes everything snap on and off instantly. You also get a UV filter and a CPL filter. I personally like to keep one of these on most of the time because they add protection, and the CPL is great for cutting reflections and boosting contrast when you're outdoors. Then you've got the neutral density filters, a 3-stop, a 6-stop, and a 10-stop. You can use them individually or you can stack them together depending on how much light you're dealing with. And the 10-stop is no joke. You can literally point the camera straight into the sun and it's insanely dark. They also include a small guide that explains the 180-degree shutter rule and why ND filters matter so much for cinematic motion, which is actually useful if you're still dialing in your workflow. It's a compact, simple kit, but it covers pretty much every real-world lighting situation I run into when shooting in Cine EI. You're back filming in seconds, which matters way more than people realize when you're shooting Cine EI outdoors. And because these are fixed NDs, not variable, something important happens. When I put one of these magnetic NDs on, I know exactly what I'm going to get. No guessing, no weird color shifts, no X patterns. That consistency is huge when you're shooting S-Log3 and planning to color grade later. Now, a question I get is, what about variable NDs? Variable NDs absolutely have their place. If you're filming on a day where the clouds are moving every 5 seconds, a variable ND can feel easier because you just twist and adjust. But here's what I constantly struggle with. When conditions are super bright, variable NDs can introduce cross-polarization and subtle color shifts that absolutely show up on log footage. I've also bought several different kinds, and what I've learned is the bigger the diameter of the face of your lens, the more you get, you guessed it, the big X. That's where fixed NDs shine. They're cleaner, more predictable, and more reliable in terms of image. One of the big advantages of the magnetic quick swap NDs is that they're fixed filters, so you don't get that annoying X pattern that you see in some variable NDs. The downside is they still take a couple seconds to swap on and off. So in extremely fast changing light, a good variable ND can be quicker if it doesn't introduce artifacts. That said, they're still dramatically faster and more practical than traditional screw-on ND filters. So what happens when the light changes just a little bit and you don't want to swap filters, or it's not enough light difference to change and put on 3 stops? I've noticed I can fall into that little gap just between. That's where I use an exposure trick that most people never talk about. We've all been taught that cinematic means shooting wide open all the time. f1.8, f2.0, no exceptions. But in Cine EI, exposure priority matters more than shallow depth of field. It's also important to consider what you're shooting. Not everything requires a ton of bokeh. Some of the greatest movies in history were shot with almost no bokeh at all. Overusing anything, no matter how cool it is, will eventually become annoying. So this comes back to thinking about the purpose of the shot, considering what aspect you're willing to compromise on. There's an old saying in the military, no plan survives the battlefield. And filmmaking is no different. You can walk onto a shoot with the perfect plan, perfect light, perfect conditions, but once you're dealing with weather, environments, and real life, compromises will happen, even on big Hollywood productions. And that's why adaptability on set and a strong editor in post often matter just as much as the plan itself. Instead of constantly swapping ND strengths for small light changes, let your aperture float. Going from f2.8 to f4 is completely fine. It's pretty hard to even notice the difference that you get, and you keep your base ISO. You keep your log curve, you keep your dynamic range, all of which are directly related to how you're exposing. A slightly deeper depth of field is always better than a blown out or overexposed image that can't be saved in post. This one adjustment alone makes magnetic ND systems way more practical in real world shooting. Here's the big takeaways that you can use in the field. Cine EI on the Sony FX30 gives you an incredible image quality, but only if you expose with intention from the start. If you don't, no LUT in the world will save it. A fast, reliable ND system like this gives you the control Cine EI demands without slowing you down on set. And now that you understand how ND filters fit into Cine EI exposure, the next question becomes critical. When should you switch between ISO 800 and 2500 to get the cleanest possible image? That's exactly what I'm going to be breaking down in the near future, so stay tuned. If you found value in this video, subscribe and check out the links in the description below. Down there you'll find some really solid ND filter kits, links to the best gear and Sony products that I actually use, plus a few other tools that can really improve your workflow, including my handheld mastery course and a new group that I'm building. As we head into 2026, I'd love to hear from you. What kinds of problems are you running into with your Sony FX30 or similar cameras? What would you like help solving next? Drop a comment below. I read every one of them and they shape what I create. That's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.